I get called all sorts of things.
I just getting the right surname.
I couldn't get it in the box for some reason, so I had to reconfigure, run by dog and cat people, and they're always fighting each other, you know, on this planet.
We just want to start going through certain items, and Bob wants to give us
What I'll say is that there's actually two collections here. There's mine and a colleague.
Alan Blanchard's, yeah, I've seen that. I just wanted to ask you on the trains because there's a curious X scratched on them. For example, this one here. This one's got an X on it. It's a curious X.
I was involved with Mainland right from the start, but only for the first year. But then I was concentrating on Action Man, Action Force and stuff.
Yeah.
First year, when it first started, I had a guy in called Merle Evans, who's passed away. He went to Bachman, eventually. I was involved in organising the controller.
I mean, Alan Blanchard, he was
the model maker.
For mainline toys? For Palitoy?
For Palitoy in general. He modelled that Action Man's helmet.
Right,
so he did all sorts of things, but most of the work he was doing was on mainline.
Right. Okay. Because I'm going on to the Action Man cap there. I mean, there's a little bit of history there with that, wasn't there? Because obviously this is something that was moulded from the original to make the original cap.
Yeah.
So, and this is Alan Blanchard's design as well.
He sculpted that. Yeah.
That's got the lance. I like the lance's penciled emblem on there as well. Yeah.
Don't know why that was scribbled on there, but it's 4 times up, obviously, for Panda.
This is quite interesting as well. These little catalogues that you've obviously taken for inspiration to sort of design.
Yeah, well, we used to go down to the Aldershot. If you look at
the barracks,
the Tank Museum.
Yeah,
went there. But this Aldershot Army display.
All right, I see. Yeah,
at Rushmore Arena, we used to go down there to see what new things were coming out. You know,
right.
A great uniform. We tried to do that uniform.
So there's notes in these as well.
Yeah.
Little notifications that you put down for for design ideas.
Yeah, we tried to do it, but we couldn't do it. We tried to injection mold all this sort of ribbon.
Yeah.
Onto cloth before they made the uniform up.
Yeah.
It didn't work.
No, but. You've got little notes. Is that handwritten notes there as well?
That's my notes.
Yeah. So I noticed it's got your name on there as well. So if it's been circulated around the office, yeah. So I just thought it was quite an interesting little piece there. That little lot there of books, which are probably standard issue at the time, but it's a little piece of history about Palitoy's development of the Action Man figures.
Where we used to get information or inspiration from, you know.
So, I mean, you've got a little set of Star Wars figures as well. R2-D2 he's absolutely pristine for his age, and obviously C-3PO is as gold as they come. But,
so they should sell well, shouldn't they?
I would like to think so, yeah. These are quite interesting as well.
Well, yeah, strange.
And I've put them next to Baron Ironblood as well, because you've put a little bit of history about them. It was obviously a concept you were coming up with.
It's my idea, yeah. I was thinking all different ideas where Baron Ironblood and the Red Shadows could go.
Yeah.
And one of them was he invented a time machine. So he went back to Greek, you know,
there's been some mythical Cyclops.
Yeah, the Cyclops, and incorporated them into his band of Red Shadows, you know.
But I take it that never got off the design table. But it's interesting,
it's just a silly idea of mine.
If you're into Action Force history, it kind of like the evolution was there. It's never got off the drawing board.
It was in the last year when I must have done it was in 1984. So it was just playing around with ideas.
Yeah.
is a figure which we sculpted up when we were working out what to do for Action Force. Now, Action Force is a miniature figure of Action Men. Right. So in '81, the marketing manager of Action Man came to us in design and said, "We want to do Action Man same size as Star Wars, because Star Wars is
just taking off.
Action Man was starting to die off a bit." So that was the brief. Really, was to do Action Man at Star Wars scale. So
this was one of the original prototypes.
This was an idea to have different ways of doing it.
To change the body parts.
Yeah.
That's the thing, isn't it? It brings back so many memories.
I kept about 6.
I mean, I'd imagine it's probably quite an enjoyable time of your life.
Yeah.
Because I mean, making toys must be quite pleasurable, I would think.
Yeah.
Despite all pressures of getting them done on time and things.
I've still got some bits of some metal bits like that.
Yeah.
I've still got some of them.
Just for nostalgia. I mean, for me, there should be a museum. That's where they should be.
But they won't show them. When it came to this, I thought, it's just going to go in boxes and be on a shelf, you know.
Yeah,
never come out.
Exactly, yeah.
I mean, the Red Devil, the Red Shadows are very popular in America.
Right, yeah.
Now, will a film company pick up on that and make a film called The Red Shadows?
Well,
and then bring all these...
I think you should get in touch with Hollywood and say, I'll offer you some advice on it. You should have another career.
Go with it. Different things. And at the end of this 3 weeks, he had about $700,000.
Brilliant, yeah. So, well, more than covered his overheads.
More than covered the tooling.
Yeah.
And then all this extra bits he had to do.
Yeah. Well, you'll have to suggest.
And it's gone wild in America.
Yeah.
And he does 2 versions of it as well.
And we've got some stories as well. We've got Cyclops.
I've told him
mythical Cyclops.
I've told him about them. He's looking for new ideas to in the future. I said,
make a film.
Which was run by dog and cat people, and they were always fighting each other, you know, on this planet. So I did these characters, a dog-like character and a cat-like character,
right,
to be in Baron Ironblood's army, you know.
Yeah, I think they never got off the drawing board.
They didn't off the drawing board.
No. G.I. Joe's got a little bit of history as well. Off a little slip you gave me. It was as if it was presented to you as from Hasbro.
That's just a talking G.I. Joe that was in. Tom. So he transfers it down to the right size. Yeah. But that's a unique piece.
Yeah, very much so. Yeah.
Ogilvy, Benson and Mather.
Is that an advertising?
Advertising agency. Yeah. So this is their advertising.
So it's only several pages.
Yeah, it's just a small. They deal with the OBM.
Yeah.
And on the TV advertising campaign.
Right. So how did this come into?
I don't know. Just got into my.
There's a letter there as well, isn't there, from them as well, saying what they're going to do with it. I think how they're going to promote it.
Action Man Space Rangers. What they're doing with that, you know, the drawing contest, how to enter it, and all that business.
So how would this be circulated just amongst Palitoy?
Oh yeah.
Representatives. No, this hasn't gone to the public domain.
No.
Not at that stage. Got a press pass here as well.
Yeah, I went to the 30th anniversary in London of Action Man. Of course, by then Action Man was owned by Hasbro.
Yeah.
Palitoy finished in 1985. 30th anniversary of Action Man would be, what's that, 97?
Yeah, 96, yeah.
96, yeah. I joined the company in 67, Action Man 66. So it's the 30th anniversary. We had a games division straight away.
Yeah.
But then I started getting involved in designing British games, you know, like That's Life and various others.
The Parker games, there'll be a whole host of them in there, one of the different types of board games.
That's an 82 catalogue, but if you look at the 70s catalogues, you'll see a lot of the games we designed in there.
Right, yeah, well, that's what people are hopefully going to be buying. And
kicking. We'd done Action Force from scratch, and Action Man was still getting a bit of a kick in. We tried to redesign some new products for that, but they were far too expensive, and the Americans wouldn't let us go ahead with them because Action Man was on his way down. We put a display on the 84 Toy Fair of Action Man, but when we came back from Toy Fair, they said Action Man's going. They sent the license back to Hasbro.
Right.
So we knew the writing was on the wall then.
Yeah.
So that was it. Toy Fair's in January. So when we came back, sort of February, March time, Action Man had gone.
Well, it had an 18-year life, didn't it? 66 to 84. So it had a good stay.
End of August, design department was closed.
Yeah. So, that was the end of that.
I went to work for Spears Games for a while.
Yes.
In London.
Right.
Couldn't afford to move to London. So I worked there for about 6 months, and then 6, something like that. I got a call from a guy called Les Story, and he was putting on an Action Man convention thing at the Tank Museum,
right,
which is down near Southampton in Dorset.
Yeah.
And he said, "Bob, can you come down and tell us all about Action Man?" I said, "Yeah, I'll come down, but I'll bring Bill Pugh down as well, and Brian Turner, who was on display. He was display manager at Palitoy. And they put us up for a couple of nights, and we went down and talked to all these collectors about Action Man and what we did, and gave a presentation, and that was my first sort of intro into the collecting community.
Yeah.
I remember Bill Pugh, who sat in the back of the car I was driving. He was sat in the back of the car.
Found a new career.
He was saying, "I can't believe it. I can't believe it. They're paying money for this."
Yeah, well, it's interesting to people, isn't it? I mean, for someone like me, I was obviously a kid in sort of late 70s and 80s playing with Action Man. So it's kind of like, it's interesting to me. Meeting someone who was involved in the design of it, you know, and the ideas. Right.
Kids were going mad for the 2 para.
Yeah.
And they had to put a night shift on.
get them out
to get them out for Christmas.
Yeah, so everybody knew that people in Coralville were getting these, hoarded all this stuff in lofts. And they often, even to this day, they get the occasional knock on the door. Did you work for Palitoy? Have you got anything left over?
They still do that.
And actually, my uncle did say, I think there's some tanks up there. No, sorry, my wife's uncle did say, I think there's some tanks up there that we brought home for the kids in 1983 or something, you know. So, well, there you go. Get them out, dust them off.
Dust them off.
Maybe worth something.
Well, as I said, when I went to this first convention back in the 90s, it's unbelievable that people were paying big money for stuff that was going through our hands, you know. And we didn't think at the time to put it in the loft or
well,
buy a container and fill it up.
It's kids' toys, hasn't it?
It's just kids' toys. I've been doing it ever since, you know, since that time. And,
well, it's like a second career, really, isn't it?
And I think it's great.
Yeah,
it's great that people. It's a generational thing, though, isn't it? Your sort of the Palitoy Action Man was based on what we called the Gillette principle, right?
Which was
well, the figure you got for Christmas, which was the razor. That's the razor.
Then you build them up,
and the outfits are the razor blades.
Yeah, right.
Well, Hasbro didn't do that, did they? At the very beginning, there was kids of 12.
Yeah.
Buying and playing.
Well, they were an education as well, because the uniforms were so detailed.
Yeah.
You learned a lot about military weaponry and stuff.
It was older children.
Yeah.
But when Hasbro was starting to do it, the kids were getting younger that wanted Action Man.
Yeah, that's right.
So it was an instant gratification as it came out the box.
Yeah.
Right? And they played with it as it was.
Broke it.
Whereas the younger kids for Action Man in Palitoy days.
Yeah. Were more collecting.
They were collecting the different figures and dressing them up. And
I still am.
You still are.
40 years later, then obviously that
whereas the Palitoy Action Man, it's got that collectability, hasn't it?
If it's because
those outfits, when they're in good condition, they go for a lot of money, don't they?
Well, they're so detailed.
Yeah.
There's so much detail went into them.
Yeah.
And they're so lifelike.
Yeah. They used to sell a lot of those through Hamleys in London.
Yeah.
Because the Americans come over and they'd buy them, take them home.
Yeah, I can imagine them being quite popular over there. Yeah.
The Toy Design Department was made redundant. We were told to clear everything out of the office, take it. So all the tooling stuff from the model shop was gone, and everything went.
Did you have an idea that might become valuable one day?
And I had a box. I just had a box of these in the cupboard, so I just took them home.
No intention of selling them 40 years later.
No.
just I'm taking them with me.
Well, they said clear the office.
Yeah.
We don't want anything in the office, because when we were gone, they had to come in and do something else with it, you know, production or something, I don't know. But,
no, because obviously they've got things in their loft, prototypes, etc. I said, well,
bring it down here.
Bring it down, or you can hold on to it, but it'll never not sell.
Yeah.
There'll always be a market, especially for prototypes and unique one-off.
Obviously, the little figures, because well, they're unique, aren't they?
Well,
Nothing
exactly.
like them.
Yeah.
And the Cyclops, which never happened.
Yeah,
a bit weird, but
it's weird, but it's a good weird, isn't it?
Yeah.
It's something that it never got off the ground, but it shows that it was still in the thoughts of the designers.
Yeah, you got to think, when you're designing, you got to think a bit crazy, you know. And I was thinking that way.
It's the artistic flavour.
Yeah.
Like this, he was quite a common figure with the red shadow, wasn't he?
Well, it's still going, isn't it? In the collecting community.
Yeah.
Red shadows.
Yeah. They're still very popular. You had such longevity as well, Action Man.
Yeah, because I'd done it so long, you know, and doing all sorts of different things. But I like Action Force, and my.
Well, Action Force is just basically a play on Action Man, just a miniaturised version.
It's the same thing, isn't it?
Yeah, the finished piece. So.
I mean, who would think, you know, a flying skull would sell?
Kids have got an imagination, haven't they?
Yeah.
You've got to tap into that imagination. Well, let's hope it does quite well. The early indications are we've still got another week before the sale, the auction sale.
But it did well the last time I put some in.
Yeah, I've seen that. Yeah.